only begotten one, whoever believe on him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Hallelujah. All praise to the Most High God. Shalom. I'm the Mad Trucker, and this is a special presentation of live for today. I usually don't go live on this day of the week, but there's a topic that I'm going to put out there. If nobody decides to chime in, I'll just sign off. It's a statement. It's important not to provoke your children to anger. It is important not to provoke your children to anger. That's the topic for today. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm the Mad Trucker. This live is welcome to all, no matter of your religious affiliation, orientation, religion lack thereof. The only thing that I ask is if you want to participate in the topic for today, to first read my channel description. It's not long, about a paragraph. Follow the directions. Just come back if you have a question or if you want to participate in this comment section. First, type a peaceful greeting according to your culture, your customs, in your way. And after you do that, you can ask me a question, make your statement, and I will deal with it accordingly. I'll give you an answer. And if I ask a question and it's not answered, that'll be the end of the conversation, because this live is not a place for arguments or debates. Because arguments and debates do not solve problems. Conversations solve problems. And there are some people that are crippled in that department due to a certain metaphorical wax. A cream, a salve, if you will. It's white, it comes in a jar mark supremacy that we all have had a taste of. Regardless of your skin tone, you happen to be copper colored or palm colored. Because this thing that I discovered, it results from the overusage of that wax. I coined it in 2016 and I call it SBS. It stands for Smooth Brain Syndrome. It's not an insult. It's not an insult. It's not me putting you down. It's an observational analysis based upon the preponderance of the evidence that people leave in my comment section. Because if you don't like what you hear, you can always scroll. If you don't like what you see, you can always scroll. Nobody's holding firearms to anybody's heads, making them watch anybody. And likes are appreciated. So if you like the topic for today and you participate, it's greatly appreciated. If you want to share any of my content, it's greatly appreciated. And whether you like it or not, if you share it, it's appreciated. If you want to sub to my channel, it's greatly appreciated. But keep in mind that none of those things are required. I don't ask. I'm not asking for any of that. I'm not monetized by YouTube, TikTok, or any social media platform. I go live and I do social media for the channel description as listed on the channel. Because this live is really addressing something bigger than me. It's something bigger than you. It's called the truth. Not your truth, not my truth. The truth. Because the truth never changes. And we live in an age now of spin. And they're twisting things. They're twisting critical evidence to pervert the minds of children and the masses. And that's dangerous. But it's also foretold. And it strengthens my faith. My faith. Because you have a right to believe whatever you want to believe. You have a right to feel whatever it is you want to feel. Okay? And if you ever come to the conclusion that I made you mad, no, I didn't make you anything that you didn't want to be. I can't make you feel anything that you want to feel. And feelings aside, if you want to address feelings, feelings change. Opinions change. You know what doesn't change? The critical truth about spirit and flesh, it does not change. If you dig deep into the scriptures, you'll find that message, if you read it in its proper culture and context, it works. I can say I'm a living testimony that it works for me. Because I choose that. I don't just say I do, I try to do what it says. I don't try to put my feet in some chocolates that don't fit. I cannot turn water into wine. Okay? I can't go sea walk in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico and not sink. I can't do those things. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. I know that much. That lets you know that I'm no better, no less than you. But see, the thing is, we're all conditioned in the system that teaches us well-dressed lies. And now for today's topic. Today's topic is, I said at the beginning of live, you just tuned in. It's a statement, and you can type whether you agree or disagree. It's important for you never to provoke your children to anger. The dangers of provoking your children to anger. It's dangerous when you provoke your children to anger. Not because your children are unalive you, not because anything other than, okay, it's a higher standard. A higher standard that cures that affliction that I mentioned, that I coined as SBS. That's the only cure for it. You have to step outside of your ego. Research whatever it is you're trying to research, that you have a concrete, you think you know, I know this. Just step outside of your ego. Research it again. And let all the information stick this time. And when you let it stick, subscribe to our standard that Yahshua shed his blood for. He said, do unto others as you have others do unto you, for this is the law and the prophets. And that's where I get today's topic from, why it's important for you, if you're a parent, if you have children, not to provoke your children to anger. Don't make the babies mad for. They didn't ask to be here. In fact, it's your fault that they're here in the first place now, isn't it? They didn't ask you to do what you did, but you are you're a direct guardian. You're supposed to be a guardian of these children, because if you provoke your children to anger, you know what that's really called? And a lot of what they call white conservative Christians, they're not going to agree with this because they're confused by calling themselves white Christian nationalists. But they're not going to agree with this. Yeah, when you provoke your children to anger, that's child abuse. Yeah, it's child abuse. And they do that, don't they? They don't think about it that way, but look how, it's hypocrisy what they do. A lot of people of all skin tones, I'm a witness too, they provoke their children to anger, and that's called child abuse. Because you're supposed to teach your children to do better than you did. You're supposed to do that. Because the word says if you don't leave something for your children and your children's children, you're less than a believer, and you're subject to the second death. And I'm scared of that. I'm not scared of man. I'm not scared of any weapon, any gun, any knife. I'm not scared of that. And I've had weapons pointed in my face. I got shrapnel and some more stuff. Okay, I was scared then. I ain't scared now, because I decided to subscribe to a higher standard. And it's not being what's a word that won't get me flagged? Schmuicidal. I'm not that at all. I like this oxygen, air. I like breathing it. I really do. I like breathing. And yeah, I'm going to defend myself if somebody doesn't want me to breathe it. There it goes. At the end of the day, it's important, if you have children, not to provoke them to anger, because that goes against the standard. You don't want somebody provoking you to anger. Christ said, least you do to these little ones, you do unto me. There are a lot of people that claim to believe in the Most High. And shalom, Reese, long time no see. I'm doing a special presentation today. I usually don't go on this day of the week. I'm usually not doing lives this day of the week, but it's a pleasure. Most High bless and keep you. Thank you for joining us. Today's topic is a statement, and it's just agree or disagree. And the statement is this: it is important not to provoke your children to anger. That's the statement. It is important not to provoke your children to anger. And you can type whether you agree or disagree, but what I'm doing is I'm making some statements. Oh man, you started a new job. Man, that's good, Reese. Hey, guess what? Me too. And I'm conflicted. I'm really conflicted. I started a new one too, and I wasn't going to take the job that I have. And yeah, I agree with that statement too, because it's part of the higher standard, isn't it? Christ said, at least you do to these little ones, you do unto me. So when you provoke your child to anger, who are you really provoking to anger? It's not really the child now, is it? And then you see how the word goes together? Because what did he tell us? He said we have to be like these little ones. We have to be like children to enter into the kingdom, right? We have to be like these little ones. Because nobody asked to be here. Why you want to be mad because you're here? I tell you why. Because your parents provoke you to anger. They do things and say things to spark a reaction out of you. And it doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter how old you are. You know, if your parents are still living, you have some people, some adults who have issues with their parents because every time their parent comes around, they provoke their children to anger. They don't want to see their children have any peace. Oh, sure, you can ask a question. Question is, can the higher standards beat the influence that social media and news outlets? It sure can. It affects younger minds easily. It sure does. And that's really why that's with the topic today too. That's why it's important not to provoke your children to anger. If a child asks a question, tell them the truth. Give them the truth. I mean, the higher standard trumps any standard. That higher standard. And Reese, you've been here before. You know what higher standard I'm talking about, all the scripture, right? That's the standard. That's the standard that I place myself under. Which goes back to why I'm conflicted about this job that I got. I had to wrestle with it. But nonetheless, yeah, it sure can. But that's the purpose of social media in the first place. If you notice, there are a lot of channels that talk truthfully. I'm not just talking about my channel. There are other channels that talk truthfully about what's going on. And they would rather have children play and party and dance. They don't want them to study anything that will help them in this new world order that they've ushered in, right? You know, it's about views and likes, right? Well, I tell people all the time, you ain't gotta like me, but hey, for your benefit, you better love me, because I love you. And love isn't always kind words and, oh baby, it's gonna be all right. Sometimes love, I ain't gonna say sometimes, love is patient, love is kind, love is not self-serving. Love is 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And there are a lot of people walking around that don't have nothing. Because it says, you know, without love, I'm nothing. Right? The only thing that's important to me is love. And you have some people that are in their 80s that claim not to know what it is. I had an elderly man that I know very well tell me, I just simply asked him, what is your definition of love? This elderly gentleman got mad. And the answer perplexed me. He said, love is a feeling. You just know when you have it. And I love. And if you don't take my love, that's on you. Like you can force it on somebody. Real love is not forced. Real love is not something that you force. It's not something that you take. Real love is something that you give and something that you receive. And there are some people who just can't receive love. They can't receive it. They refuse to receive it. See if she'll start. No, she ain't gonna go when my battery's dead. Let's do it like this. Another question. You said, do you think it's harder for men because we got a lot of responsibility through natural inheritance, such as paying bills, protecting your family, etc.? Well, the thing about paying bills, the scripture, I can't recall what book, chapter, and verse, but correct me if I'm wrong. But it does say that no man pays for the next man's sins. But Exodus 20 says he visits the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. It does say that. So when you talk about paying, that's of this system. Just because you pay bills, there are qualifications to be a husband. Just because you have a good job and you have a lot of money and all of that, it doesn't mean that you're a righteous person. I mean, that's obvious. Look who's running the country. Doesn't mean that you're righteous just because you have a lot of money, you pay bills. But when it comes to men, it is a man's responsibility, if he finds a wife, to do for his wife, to treat his wife according to the standard, right? You have to be qualified to be a husband. You have to be qualified to be a wife, right? And a man does protect the family, but think about it like this too, Reese. The woman protects the family too. They always say there's nothing worse than a woman scorned, right? Okay, you mess with one of these women's babies, a righteous woman, I'm gonna be specific, a righteous woman who subscribes to that high standard. You go mess and try to do something to their baby. They'll cut your head off and put it on stick, talk to it, wait for the police to come around. So it's not just the man's responsibility because the family is a unit. And there's an order if you subscribe to the high standard. It's supposed to be Yahweh, that's the Most High, is first. The only way you can get to the Most High is through his son, that's Yahshua, right? And then after Yahshua, it's the man, because the man is the head of the household. If the man served the Most High and the woman does not serve the Most High, that's unequally yoked. It ain't gonna work because there's an order. It goes the Most High, Christ, the man, the woman, then the child, because the woman teaches the child from the womb. Regardless if you're a male or a female, you come from a woman. So it's relative when you say, oh, what's harder? You know what I'm saying? Because life is hard, regardless if you're a man or a woman. And when you're in the kingdom, or when you're trying to get the kingdom, I'm trying. I can't make that judgment. Christ's gonna let me know if I'm in or out. Nobody walking on this planet has a heaven or hell to put you in. Nobody on this planet can tell you that you're not worthy to follow Christ. Nobody can tell you that. They can put you out of a church. They can put you out of an organization, right? But if you subscribe to that higher standard, because it's an individual choice, right? You approach your salvation with fear and trembling. Fear and trembling because, like I said, there's no guarantee. The only guarantee is John 3:16. That's the only guarantee that I see in the scripture. Because it says, for he loved his system so much that he sent his only begotten one, whoever believes on him, they're not going to perish. They're going to live forever. Now think about all these people that sell their soul for fame, sell their soul for riches, sell their soul for clout, right? You understand? That time is nothing compared to eternity. And they give up their ever-loving soul to follow something they know ain't right. To treat somebody in a fashion that they wouldn't like to be treated in, right? Just so they can make a come up. That little come up fade after a while. You know, beauty fades, bank accounts go broke, houses rot and they fall. But the Most High is forever. Forever means forever. Like that Outkast song, right? Forever, forever, ever, forever, ever. The family of the Most High is forever. If we grafted into that family, we all have our roles to play. A woman cannot teach a man how to be a man because a woman's not a man. And a man cannot teach a woman how to be a woman because a man's not a woman. But you need a man and a woman, a family unit. There are a lot of people that don't have both parents, and I understand that too. But what I'm saying is this, you know, Christ gives us comfort because he said, call no man your father, for your father is in heaven. You have a dad, you have a pops. Your father's supposed to be in heaven if you truly believe. From my understanding of how I read it, Reese, I hope that answered that question. I'm kind of multitasking today, and this topic kind of weighed heavy on me today because I'm being tested today. And the thing is, I appreciate you coming. And I hope that if I didn't explain it, maybe I just let me know. But that's how I see that. It's not really one has more of a responsibility than the other, and that's why a lot of marriages fail because the woman relies on the man to do everything, or the man relies on the woman to do everything. When it's supposed to be a group effort, it's supposed to be a joint effort, right? It's supposed to be a joint effort because the child is a product of the man and the woman, right? Everybody, every human being on this planet is the product of one man and one woman. And I know we're living in this new age where you can be whatever you feel. But like I said at the beginning of the live, I'm not coming at no certain community. Even though they plagiarized that rainbow, they plagiarized a lot. What's going on with my key? Okay. I'm trying to get this thing running. But I do appreciate you for asking the question. Yeah, I'm multitasking right now, so please forgive me. Trying to figure out what's going on with this. Come on. Fuel gauge is messing up. That's new. But I hope that answered that question, Reese. I think that did it. We're gonna let her run and idle for a minute. We'll go ahead and check on some things. Love it when a plan comes together. But it's hard, especially in 2026. It's hard on men and it's hard on women because they're steadily changing the definition of what a man is and what a woman is. When the definition, it was set out from creation. Cut yourself off from. You cut yourself off. That's what happens when you provoke your children to anger. And that's what I found. People cut themselves off. Well, the gas ain't that rancid. Okay. Well, I got that working. Hallelujah. Now I just got to put a transmission in it. And Reese, I want to say, man, congratulations on your job. It's been a while. It's good to see you. Well, it's good to hear from you. Well, no, it's good to see you. Even though I don't know what you look like, it's good to see you. You know, when Christ said, let those who have eyes, let them see, and let those who have ears, let them hear, he wasn't just talking about those optics in your skull. A lot of people, they have vision, but they don't have the vision that Christ requires us to have. And that's the vision that I want. And they try to cloud it when you're a child by provoking you to anger. Keep you from your blessings. And it goes back to what I always say, you know, and I think I'm going to sign off. Today's a special day, y'all. It really is. Today is a special day because before today, there has never, and I do mean never, there has never been a day like today. There's never been a day like today. And after today is gone, it's never coming back. No matter how much you will it, no matter how much you want it, today's not gonna come back. And I don't tell grown folks what to do. Today is also a very special day because throughout the annals of time, history, space, and the cosmos, there's never, and I do mean never when I say never, there has never been a day like today. And if you can, this is just a request. I'm not telling you what to do. Just sharing what works for me, right? If you can help somebody, if you can help someone, I don't care who they are. I don't care what they believe. I don't care what they look like. If you can help someone in a positive and constructive manner, then help that person. And if you can't help that person, or if you just refuse to help that person, simply leave that person alone. And if you have children and you're a parent, just remember, when you provoke your children to anger, it's called child abuse. Christ is against child abuse. Even if you don't believe in the Bible, it's unrighteous to provoke your child to anger, to pick at your child, provoke them to anger. Because the word does say, don't let the sun go down on your anger, because it makes foothold for the adversary. When you provoke your children to anger, you're basically sending them to Moloch. You're trying to send them, you're cutting them off from their blessings. So you can feel some type of way. Like the elderly man that I told you that basically doesn't know what love is. And it's not that the elderly man didn't know. He just didn't care. This older gentleman that I'm talking about claims to not know what love is. And then it turned from not knowing what love is to love is a feeling. You can't describe it. You just know it when you have it. Well, so is anger. Anger. Huh? When people say, oh, it's a feeling, you just know it when you have it, they say things like that because they don't know. And the word does say, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And everybody has a choice. Everybody has a choice. Everybody walking on this earth plane right now has a choice. Choose ye this day which Elohim you will serve. As for me and my house, we're going to serve the Most High. And to mask off M4M, I'm going to let that stand. What you need to do is work on an affliction that you have, that you're suffering from. And I'm basing that conclusion on the preponderance of the evidence by what you typed, that you have a touch of SBS. And you can cure yourself. Okay. Rewind the live and listen from the beginning. And then answer that question for yourself. Or not. I don't tell grown folks what to do. But either way, to reach QAR and to mask off M4M, may the Most High bless and keep you. Thank you for participating in the live. Well, thank you, Reese. I don't know what mask off is doing, but thank you for participating in the live. May the Most High bless and keep you. Yes. Okay. I think I got that problem licked. May the Most High bless and keep you. May his countenance be gracious unto you. May the Most High smile on you and give you shalom. Thanks for watching. I'm the Mad Trucker.